Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow weren't the glamorous, thrill-chasing rebels Hollywood taught you to love. Their real story is darker, messier, and soaked in fear, from backroad gas stations to bullet-scarred cars. From cold-blooded holdups to disturbing personal quirks and uneasy family memories, the truth behind America's most infamous outlaw couple is far more unsettling than the legend. Stick around as we strip away the romantic myth and dig into the chilling facts the movies leave out. If you love gritty, untold history from the Old West era and beyond, hit subscribe and tell us in the comments which outlaw duo you want us to expose next. More shocking stories are waiting in the shadows. Jesse James. Shocking truths behind the legend. Jesse James wasn't the charming folk hero Hollywood wants you to believe. The real story is darker, bloodier, and far more unpredictable. From deadly train robberies to betrayals within his own family, Jesse left a trail of fear across Missouri and beyond. Born into hardship during the Civil War, violence became a part of his daily life, shaping the man who would lead the James Younger Gang. Letters and family accounts reveal a complex character, fiercely loyal, cunning, and fearless, but also ruthless when survival demanded it. Despite the myths, Jesse's life was chaotic, desperate, and full of choices that haunted him until the end. Stick around, because once we peel back the legend, you'll see Jesse James in a way history rarely admits. And the next outlaw story coming up is even more shocking. Billy the Kid. Dark stories they don't tell. Billy the Kid wasn't the carefree gunslinger movies paint him as. His real life was chaotic, violent, and steeped in fear, from New Mexico's lawless frontiers to the shadows of the Lincoln County War. Behind the daring escapes and infamous gunfights, Billy's story was marked by loss, betrayal, and the constant threat of death. Friends and enemies alike remember a young man both charismatic and terrifying, quick to laugh, quicker to draw his gun. Every decision pulled him deeper into a world where loyalty and survival collided, and where childhood innocence was long gone. Stay with us, because once we strip away the myth, you'll see the kid's life as it really was, and the next outlaw tale waiting in the shadows will shock you even more. Butch Cassidy and Sundance. The real crimes revealed. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid weren't the charming outlaws Hollywood loves to romanticize. The truth is darker. A life of constant danger, bloody heists, and narrow escapes across the American West. From bank robberies to train holdups, every move demanded cunning, skill, and nerves of steel. Family recollections and lawmen's reports paint a picture of men both daring and ruthless, who trusted only a few companions while facing betrayal and death at every turn. Their loyalty to one another was legendary, yet the line between friendship and obsession was razor thin. Stick around, because when we peel back the myth, you'll see how far Cassidy and Sundance went to survive. And the next outlaw story coming up in the shadows is even more shocking than you'd expect. Al Capone. Hidden horrors of a gangster life. Al Capone's name still sparks images of sharp suits and speakeasies, but the reality was far more sinister. Behind the glamour of Chicago's nightlife lay a life built on fear, brutality, and ruthless ambition. From bloody turf wars to secretive hits, Capone ruled with a combination of charm and terror, leaving enemies, and sometimes friends, paying the price. Letters, newspaper accounts, and testimonies reveal a man who calculated every move, yet lived under constant threat from rivals and law enforcement alike. His empire was thrilling, yes, but fragile. And those closest to him often learned the hard way that loyalty came with a deadly cost. Stay tuned, because as we uncover the truth, the next criminal story lurking in history will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. Brutal tales from the Old West, the Dalton Gang. Life on the frontier was never safe, but few knew danger as intimately as the Dalton Gang. Their days were filled with daring robberies, tense standoffs, and a constant scramble to stay one step ahead of the law. Behind the legend of fast guns and clever heists lies a story of violence, betrayal, and choices that left scars on families and towns alike. Reports from survivors and lawmen describe young men hardened by hardship, fearless in crime, yet haunted by the consequences of every decision. Every stagecoach and bank they targeted became a test of skill, nerves, and survival. Keep watching, because once the myths fade, the truth of their final days will shock you. And the next Old West story waiting in the shadows is even darker. Untold Stories of the Frontier, Wild Bill Hickok. The frontier was lawless, unpredictable, and deadly. And few lived that reality more fully than Wild Bill Hickok. Tales of gunfights, narrow escapes, and tense showdowns only scratch the surface of a life built on courage, cunning, and the constant shadow of death. Friends, family, and eyewitness accounts reveal a man both fearless and calculated, who could charm a room one moment and face down danger the next. His legend grew faster than the truth, as newspapers and storytellers polished his daring exploits into almost mythic proportions. Behind it all, Hickok struggled with personal loss, fleeting loyalties, and choices that forever tied his name to the wild frontier. Stick around, because when the myth fades, the real story of Wild Bill Hickok and the next shocking figure in American history will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. Behind the mask of outlaws, the James Younger Gang, violence, loyalty, and betrayal ran through the veins of the American frontier, and no group embodied it more than the James Younger Gang. Their daring raids, carefully planned escapes, and deadly confrontations left towns trembling, while newspapers sensationalized their every move. Family members and survivors recall young men hardened by war, poverty, and vengeance, bound together by blood and necessity. Behind the glamorous tales of clever bank robberies, the reality was raw. Long nights on the run, constant fear, and the ever-present shadow of betrayal. Every heist tested not only their skill, but their trust in one another, and every choice carried consequences they could not escape. Stay with us, because once the masks come off, the true story of the James Younger Gang and the next shocking outlaw in our series will make everything you thought you knew about the Old West seem smaller than it really was. Chilling facts about the gunfighter, Doc Holliday. Few figures in the Wild West inspired as much fear as the man behind the teeth-whitening smile and gambler's charm. Doc Holliday's life was a constant balancing act between brilliance and danger, a world where every card game, gunfight, and whispered rumor could decide his fate. Friends and foes alike remembered a man both brilliant and unpredictable, calm under fire, yet haunted by illness and personal demons. Stories from Tombstone and beyond reveal a complexity that movies rarely capture: loyalty, cunning, and a willingness to embrace chaos when it suited him. Keep watching, because once you step beyond the myths, Doc Holliday's real story sets the stage for the next shocking tale. A frontier figure whose life twisted far deeper than anyone ever imagined. Deadly moments they didn't teach. The Clanton Gang. The desert towns of the Old West were never safe, but the Clanton Gang turned danger into a way of life. Rivalries, gunfights, and tense standoffs marked their path, leaving local communities wary and lawmen on high alert. Eyewitness accounts and family recollections reveal a group driven by loyalty, ambition, and survival instincts honed in a lawless land. Every gun drawn, every escape, and every decision carried the weight of life and death, showing a world far harsher than the legends suggest. Their reputation wasn't just about violence. It was about cunning, timing, and the fragile bonds holding them together in a world where trust could vanish in an instant. Stick around, because the frontier has more hidden stories waiting to surface. Stories that challenge everything you think you know about loyalty and lawlessness. Fierce life beyond the legend, Calamity Jane. The frontier was unforgiving, and few lived its dangers as fully as Calamity Jane. Behind the tall tales and dime novels lies a woman hardened by loss, hardship, and the constant threat of violence. Eyewitnesses and letters reveal her as fearless, resourceful, and unafraid to defy expectations. but also someone shaped by moments of vulnerability that rarely reached the public eye. She wandered saloons, rough camps, and treacherous trails, navigating a world where every choice could mean survival or death. Her courage was real, her adventures dangerous, and her story far more complicated than the legend suggests. Keep watching, because beyond Jane's exploits, the frontier still hides untold stories of grit, betrayal, and survival. Stories that will challenge everything you think you know about the Wild West. Dark deeds they tried to hide? Wyatt Earp. The legend of Wyatt Earp paints a picture of law, order, and heroism. But the truth behind Tombstone's most famous lawman is far more complicated. Behind the gunfights, saloons, and celebrated standoffs lies a life shaped by personal ambition, family loyalty, and choices that often blurred the line between justice and vengeance. Eyewitness accounts, letters, and court records reveal a man who was strategic, relentless, and sometimes ruthless, navigating a world where survival demanded quick decisions and few second chances. Every confrontation, every duel, carried consequences that lingered long after the smoke cleared, showing a side of Earp rarely mentioned in popular tales. Stick around, because once you uncover the real Wyatt Earp, the frontier's next hidden story will reveal truths that historians long tried to bury. Horrors of Tombstone, the Earp Vendetta Ride. Tombstone wasn't just a town, it was a powder keg of revenge, fear, and lawlessness. The Earp Vendetta Ride exposed the violent underbelly of the frontier, as Wyatt Earp and his allies hunted those they held responsible for attacks on their family and friends. Witnesses, letters, and court accounts reveal a world where every confrontation could end in death, and justice was often delivered at the muzzle of a gun. This wasn't heroism, it was survival, obsession, and the brutal consequences of personal vengeance. Each ride, each ambush left a mark on the town, and etched fear into its residents, showing a side of the West that history books rarely explore. Keep watching, because Tombstone's shadows still hide stories of lawmen and outlaws that challenge everything you think you know about the Wild West. Forgotten Outlaw Stories, Billy Thompson. Life on the frontier was harsh, and few navigated its dangers as recklessly as Billy Thompson. Behind the whispered tales of gunfights and narrow escapes lies a story of desperation, cunning, and choices that constantly push the limits of survival. Friends, enemies, and newspaper accounts recall a man quick with both charm and violence. A figure whose actions left townsfolk wary and lawmen vigilant. Each robbery, each confrontation, exposed the fragile line between loyalty and betrayal, showing a world where trust could vanish in an instant. The life he led was thrilling, chaotic, and often deadly, far removed from the sanitized versions of the Old West circulated later. Stay with us, because once you see the real Billy Thompson, you'll discover other frontier stories hidden in shadows that history almost forgot. Brutal crimes and untold tales. Sam Bass. The frontier was a battlefield where law and lawlessness collided, and Sam Bass thrived in that dangerous gray area. Each train robbery and stagecoach heist showcased his daring, planning, and willingness to push limits most wouldn't dare approach. Eyewitnesses describe a man who could charm a room one moment and strike fear the next, leaving townsfolk and lawmen scrambling in his wake. Survival wasn't about luck. It demanded quick thinking, precision, and nerves of steel. Bass's choices created a trail of chaos, revealing the darker side of a life romanticized in folklore. Yet even as his story unfolded in headlines and whispers, there were hidden patterns, alliances, and rivalries waiting to surface, secrets in the shadows of the Old West that historians only now dare to reveal. Dangerous Secrets Revealed, Jesse Evans Gang. The borderlands of the Old West were a tinderbox of violence, and the Jesse Evans Gang fanned the flames. Their raids, shootouts, and daring escapes were marked by careful planning, bold risk-taking, and moments of sheer brutality. Letters, court records, and survivor accounts reveal a group driven by survival, loyalty, and a thirst for notoriety, who moved through towns like shadows, leaving fear and confusion behind. Each encounter with lawmen tested their cunning. Each robbery reshaped local communities, and every decision carried consequences that could not be undone. If you're fascinated by the hidden truths of the Old West, hit subscribe and turn on notifications to follow every shocking tale as we uncover the real stories behind America's most dangerous outlaws. Even now, decades later, fragments of their story emerge from dusty archives and overlooked documents. Behind the infamous raids lie hidden alliances and betrayals, waiting to be uncovered, reminding us that the Old West still holds secrets darker than any legend suggests. The Bandit Queen's chilling life, Belle Starr. Life in the frontier was unforgiving, but Belle Starr carved a path that few dared to follow. Known for her daring raids, clever schemes, and fierce independence, she moved through a world dominated by men with skill, charm, and a ruthless edge. Family accounts and law enforcement reports reveal a woman who thrived on danger, navigated shifting alliances, and embraced risks others would avoid. Each robbery, each confrontation, and every decision demonstrated a cunning intellect matched only by her audacity. She was both admired and feared, leaving a trail of stories that blurred the line between infamy and legend. But beneath the glamorized tales lies a life shaped by betrayal, hardship, and hidden truths. Secrets of the frontier waiting to surface that rewrite everything we thought we knew about Belle Starr. Deadly truths about a gunfighter, John Wesley Hardin. The dust-choked towns of the Old West hid men who thrived on fear, and John Wesley Hardin was one of the deadliest. From his teenage years, Hardin moved through saloons, back roads, and lawless settlements, leaving a trail of violence and whispered tales. Court records, family recollections, and survivor accounts paint a portrait of a man both intelligent and ruthless, whose skill with a gun was matched only by his willingness to exploit every opportunity. Each encounter carried the weight of life and death, forcing those around him to adapt or perish. Yet even in the shadow of his notoriety, there are hidden episodes, encounters, and rivalries that reveal a side of Hardin history glossed over. The frontier still holds fragments of his life that could shatter what we think we know. First train, robbers, horrifying crimes, the Reno Gang. Long before legends of train heists captured imaginations, the Reno Gang turned rails into a deadly stage. Their audacious robberies shocked towns across the Midwest, leaving lawmen scrambling and communities in terror. Eyewitness accounts, letters, and court records reveal a group skilled in planning, bold in execution, and ruthless when threatened. Each stolen shipment, each gunfight, reshaped the perception of crime in the frontier, creating fear that rippled far beyond the tracks. Their cunning and violence weren't just for fame. They were survival tools in a world without mercy. But hidden in backroom diaries and forgotten newspapers are whispers of betrayals and plans that never came to light. Secrets that could rewrite everything you think you know about America's first train robbers. Hidden horrors of a notorious family, the Youngers. The Youngers weren't just a gang. They were a family bound by blood, loyalty, and a penchant for violence. Their raids, robberies, and escapes painted the Midwest with fear, while newspapers and eyewitness accounts captured only fragments of their actions. Each member played a dangerous role, and rivalries, betrayals, and tense standoffs were part of everyday life. Letters and court records reveal how decisions driven by survival often collided with personal ambition, turning ordinary disputes into deadly confrontations. Life on the run hardened them, yet each choice carried consequences that echoed far beyond the frontier towns they haunted. And while history remembers the Youngers as infamous outlaws, scattered diaries and overlooked testimonies hint at secrets behind the family's rise, dark truths and betrayals still waiting to be unearthed. Poetic robber or deadly criminal? Black Bart. When stagecoaches rumbled through California's hills, one name struck both fear and fascination: Black Bart. Unlike most outlaws, he left poems at crime scenes, taunting lawmen and captivating the public. But behind the clever verses was a man skilled in deception and meticulous in planning. Eyewitness accounts and court records reveal a figure who balanced charm with cunning, often escaping capture through patience and careful observation. Every robbery was a blend of theatrics and cold calculation, showing a mind as sharp as his ambition. Yet, for every poem left behind, there are whispers of missteps, alliances, and hidden schemes that never reach the headlines. Somewhere in the shadows of the Wild West, Black Bart's untold secrets linger, ready to challenge the story history has carefully polished. Ruthless feuds behind the legend, the Hatfield clan. The Hatfields weren't just a family, they were a force of fear, reputation, and unrelenting vengeance. Mountains and rivers became their battlegrounds, where grudges turned deadly and alliances shifted like the wind. Letters, court records, and eyewitness accounts reveal a clan that lived by strict codes of loyalty, punishment, and retaliation. Each feud, each ambush, carried consequences that rippled far beyond their own kin, leaving neighboring families trapped in cycles of violence. Survival meant cunning, intimidation, and an unshakable will to protect honor, even at a deadly cost. But hidden amid the documented confrontations are letters, confessions, and whispers of plots never fully revealed. Secrets that could redefine the Hatfields' story and expose the darkest corners of one of America's most infamous family legacies. Untold crimes of the Old West, the McCulloch Gang. The McCulloch Gang prowled the frontier with a mix of strategy, daring, and ruthless determination. Their raids on banks, trains, and isolated settlements left communities reeling, while letters, newspaper accounts, and survivor testimonies hint at a calculated group whose ambition often outpaced caution. Each heist revealed a balance between meticulous planning and chaotic improvisation, showcasing a gang capable of both charm and terror. Family dynamics, personal grudges, and fleeting alliances shaped their actions as much as the threat of lawmen, creating a volatile mix that kept towns on edge. Yet behind the headlines and wanted posters lie fragmented journals and hidden accounts, clues that suggest the McCulloch story wasn't fully told, and the darkest schemes of this outlaw group may still remain buried, waiting for discovery. Shocking murders they tried to hide. Belle Gunness. Beneath the quiet facade of a small Indiana farm, Belle Gunness built a life steeped in secrets and terror. Known for her charm and meticulous planning, she lured victims with promises of work, love, or fortune, only for many to vanish without a trace. Court records, survivor accounts, and newspaper stories reveal a woman, both calculating and remorseless, whose crimes were often hidden behind the mundane rhythms of farm life. Each disappearance, each grim discovery, exposed the lengths she would go to maintain control and conceal her deadly activities. Yet even today, hints in letters, hidden ledgers, and local tales suggest more victims and schemes that never reach the headlines. Belle Gunness's dark story is far from fully uncovered, leaving shadows of the past that still whisper secrets waiting to be revealed. Brutality behind the smiles. The Kid Curry saga. Behind the playful grin and fearless demeanor of Kid Curry lay a streak of violence that left lawmen and townsfolk alike on edge. Born into hardship, Curry turned to a life of robbery, gunfights, and daring escapes that made him both legendary and feared. Eyewitness accounts, letters, and court records reveal a man who blended charm with lethal precision, capable of disarming opponents with wit before striking with deadly accuracy. Each bank raid and train holdup was calculated, yet impulsive enough to leave chaos in its wake. But buried in forgotten letters, old confessions, and overlooked reports are hints of schemes and alliances Curry forged that history barely touched. Behind the familiar stories lie darker chapters, waiting to challenge everything known about the notorious gunslinger. Horrific true tales. Jesse James's bloodiest days. Jesse James is remembered as a legendary outlaw, but behind the fame lies a trail of fear, blood, and chaos. From deadly bank robberies to violent showdowns with lawmen, his actions left towns shaken and families scarred. Eyewitness accounts, letters, and court records reveal a man skilled in planning, fearless under fire, and relentless when revenge called. Each crime was calculated, yet carried a raw, unpredictable violence that blurred the line between strategy and savagery. His loyal gang followed, knowing the risks, and the frontier became a stage for his daring and deadly performances. Yet, tucked away in family papers and local archives, are events and alliances historians barely mention. Hidden stories of betrayal and survival could change the way we understand Jesse James's most notorious days. Terrifying truths behind Bonnie and Clyde, the Barrow Gang. The infamous duo Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow are often remembered for romance and daring, but the reality was far more ruthless. Their small but deadly Barrow Gang traveled across the central United States, leaving a trail of fear, chaos, and violence in every town they touched. Eyewitness accounts, letters, and police reports reveal that the gang wasn't just impulsive. They were cunning, calculating, and capable of extreme brutality when threatened. Each robbery, escape, and encounter with law enforcement highlighted the high stakes of their outlaw existence and the constant danger surrounding them. Yet, behind the headlines, hidden letters, secret hideouts, and overlooked stories suggest dark rivalries and unknown incidents that even the most detailed biographies have yet to uncover. The full story of the Barrow Gang may still surprise historians. Gunfights they never talked about. Curly Bill Brocious. Curly Bill Brocious is often remembered as a daring figure of the frontier, but his true story is steeped in violence, cunning, and conflict. Beyond the headlines, Brocious orchestrated gunfights, ambushes, and standoffs that left townsfolk terrified and lawmen scrambling. Eyewitness accounts, letters, and court records reveal a man who thrived on chaos, navigating alliances and rivalries with ruthless precision. Each confrontation highlighted his ability to survive against overwhelming odds while shaping the legend of the Wild West. Yet hidden among personal letters, forgotten testimonies, and obscure reports are incidents that never reach the newspapers. Moments of betrayal, revenge, and survival that could alter everything we think we know about Curly Bill Brocious and the dangerous world he dominated. Crimes too shocking to film. The Wild Bunch. The Wild Bunch weren't just another outlaw gang. They were a whirlwind of violence and cunning that left the Southwest trembling. Banks, trains, and isolated settlements fell victim to their audacity, while eyewitness reports, letters, and court records reveal a group that combined meticulous planning with unpredictable brutality. Each heist was a dangerous ballet of strategy, timing, and ruthless action, leaving townsfolk and lawmen alike scrambling to survive. If you love uncovering these untold stories from the Old West, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any shocking truths from history's most dangerous outlaws. What remains most mysterious are the gaps in their story. Personal diaries, forgotten law reports, and whispers from the frontier hint at betrayals, secret hideouts, and raids that never made the news. Some events may have been too shocking to record, suggesting that even the most detailed histories only scratch the surface of the Wild Bunch's deadly exploits. Secrets from America's most dangerous, the Outlaw Trail. The Outlaw Trail stretched across the American frontier, a shadowy network where fugitives, thieves, and desperados evaded lawmen and pursued freedom on their own terms. Letters, court records, and eyewitness accounts reveal how the trail connected dangerous outlaws from small towns to remote hideouts, enabling robberies, ambushes, and daring escapes. Every journey along its rugged path was fraught with risk, requiring cunning, speed, and a willingness to trust few and fear none. Buried in local lore, diaries, and reports ignored by historians are stories of alliances, betrayals, and raids that never made it into official records. The Outlaw Trail may still hold clues to crimes and secrets that could rewrite our understanding of America's most notorious fugitives. Who walked these hidden paths and what they left behind is a mystery waiting to unfold. Chilling facts about America's deadliest frontier killers. The frontier wasn't just a land of opportunity. It was a stage for some of the deadliest criminals in American history. Frontier killers struck with speed and brutality, leaving fear and chaos wherever they roamed. Eyewitness accounts, court records, and letters reveal calculated violence, unpredictable raids, and personal vendettas that often blurred the line between outlaw and predator. Every encounter, from isolated homesteads to dusty towns, tested the courage of those who tried to stand in their way. Yet even today, fragments of reports, forgotten diaries, and local legends suggest that some killers' true exploits were never documented. Hidden paths, unseen crimes, and unnamed accomplices may still lie buried in the past, offering dark surprises for anyone bold enough to uncover what really happened on the American frontier.